Yeah, if you do want to have a go on the beta, do get it, and yeah, you can. I think you can download it now through Origin and take a look. I think
That's
there's
the
actually
other
going
problem.
to Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to use that?
What is? You see, I use Uplay quite a lot for games and stuff, and I don't really
play?
see the I don't really see the what's with Origin like. What EA release that I played? Like Mass Effect, is that on Origin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never really had an issue with it, probably. Like, what's the main problem? Because I can see, because when you're a game developer, I think, if you upload a game to Steam, they take a set percentage of every sale you make. So, what is, if you're a game developer, I think it makes sort of complete sense to release your own platform that you can buy stuff through to bring back more to them. EA, maybe aren't like the nicest, friendliest company people say, but I think bottom line, is it right to criticize companies for just trying to get their own distribution model through, than having to rely on things like Steam and stuff like that?
It's a bit unfair on the consumers now, especially since a lot of the big companies, EA, Ubisoft, are all starting to do their own.
Yep.
No one wants like 100 different applications you have to load just to play a game. I mean, Steam's had a lot more time, so it's a lot more optimized. It doesn't hog the processing power as much, and running games through it seems just a bit smoother. Interface is nicer to use. It just kind of works, where the others just feel clunky and don't tend to always work. Especially Uplay, I found when I used to try and play multiplayer games on that, it took so long to get games or to get anything working online. It was painful.
So Jack, I mean, you play a lot of games. You use sort of a lot of clients. Do you think, what sort of your thoughts on Origin and sort of stuff like that? Do you think, do game developers, is it a problem? Is it, is there a problem with the service? Is it like it's not as good as Steam? What's people's issues with it, do you think?
I mean, I understand the idea that Steam takes a percentage and people don't want that to be a monopoly on the market. I completely get that, but I agree with Rob. I fucking hate using all these different programs, and I know it sounds stupid, but some people, like when you're working all day and you come home and you want a game, you load up Origin and it's like forgotten your password, and I've got like an Origin password and a Steam password and website passwords and bank password, and you have to keep them all different for security, and I'm sitting there entering all these passwords, and then it is often a lot more laggy using those programs than Steam. With Steam, the reason I like that is because it's one place I can go and it seems very affordable to me. So as a consumer, I feel no need to use these other platforms, and it is just a direct put off to me. I outright refuse to get games if I feel that I'm being forced into this, what feels like adware, or sometimes.
Yeah.
What if we had like a client for clients? So like you had a Steam where like you go on and you like choose it, because I guess you start a load of different games all the time, so you could like sort of arguably say that just going and selecting a game from a list it's just the same as selecting a client to play a different game, like play PlayStation, Xbox. Is that just do you think that's a valid point?
I think it's definitely a viable option, but the problem is that it's adoption, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess if you had to download like Origin to play Mass Effect now, do you think that actually does turn people off, or people just sort of do it and sort of get on with it?
I can't imagine they've lost like millions of users, but I mean, from a personal experience, I didn't buy Mass Effect 3 because I had 1 and 2 on Steam, and then they had some petty fallout with each other, and then 3 was segregated to Origin, and I'm not going to download that just to play one game. So
I think
I've had Origin since sort of around near where it launched, and it has gotten a lot better than what it was when it first launched.
Yeah,
that's true.
But it's like Steam has had years and years now to perfect its formula, perfect its user experience, and the way it handles everything. And it's just the one that everyone finds most convenient, or most people find the most convenient. And I can see where having all these different launchers, like the Uplay launcher, the Origin launcher, the Steam launcher, just having all your games in several different places just isn't the most convenient for the user.
I think one of the things, you see, I love Uplay because I played all the Assassin's Creed, I love Splinter Cell, I love Far Cry, and I think they updated it a couple of months ago, and it's just so easy to use. I mean, one of my issues with it was that I'd buy a game on Steam, and then I'd download it through Steam, and then it wouldn't let me play it unless I went back into Uplay and then downloaded the game through Uplay and used that, because once it's activated on Uplay, I couldn't then re-download it and play it through Steam, which is sort of really weird to me. I mean, that's sort of one of the issues. But honestly, I just think it's people whining about having to load a different thing just before they want to play a game. And I don't think it really matters too much at all.
But then I guess with like Uplay, most of Ubisoft's games, in fact I think all of Ubisoft's games, are also available on Steam. Yeah. So that's down to the user there whether they want to have it directly with Uplay or if they want to buy it within Steam and just sort of log into their Uplay account. Well, I think the thing with Origin nowadays is their games, I might be wrong here, but I don't believe are actually available on Steam.
No.
So you kind of give the user no choice but to use Origin at that point.
So I'm just looking at the chat room now. I think a couple of people said, so I think the general consensus seems to be, people do like Uplay. Uplay is pretty good. Some people think it's the worst one they've ever touched. From Christian there. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think it's a real issue. I think, it's like when people sort of complain about using operating systems when they just like flip between applications a lot of the time. So like people say they hate Windows 10 or they hate.
I love the person who's mentioned Game for Windows Live and that Uplay plays better than that. Can't let people forget.
I mean, that's true.
I've just seen as well, someone's gone, Uplay is much better since the recent update. And yes, I will definitely give it that. The more recent updates over the last probably 6 months, 7 months, has made it a lot better than it used to be a couple of years back. I remember trying to install, I think it was Settlers 7 when that first came out on Uplay, and it was the most horrendous thing I've ever had to do. And then more recently, it's gotten a bit better, but it's just, from my opinion, it's quite nice to have everything in one place.
Yeah.
That's definitely preferable.
I think if the game runs and it all works, then everything is quite generally quite fine. I don't think there's I don't really care, to be honest, if I have to launch something else before playing it. If it's, I think the problem with Windows Live games was that when I try and launch Street Fighter 4 now, it won't actually let me play. It won't, I can't. It locks me out the game because I don't remember my live password, and I just don't play Street Fighter 4 now because I don't know my live password. I think Chris just said as well there. People, the problems with support. I know a lot of people, if you look at the forums, people whine about Steam support all the time, and people seem to quite like Uplay support. Have any of you had to sort of deal with Steam support at all or anything?
No, not myself. Yeah, the only support I've had to deal with is Origin's support when I got locked out of my Star Wars account, which was an utter nightmare.
Is that the Old Republic you played?
Yeah, the Old Republic. Because I had to go through Origin to then go through Star Wars to then go back through Origin to unlock my account.
I think, I always love playing MMOs and sort of the day they come out because there's always things that you. Guild Wars.
Launch day.
Guild Wars 2 didn't let me log in for a while, I think, when I first started there. No, Guild Wars 2, you couldn't buy it online. You couldn't download it anywhere. It wouldn't let me buy the game when I tried to get it for some reason. But launch day MMOs, that's definitely, I guess you expect the bugs, don't you? And it's always a bit of fun. So